Today is Thursday, March 24th, and we're bringing you another episode of Diamonds in the Rough, presented by Diamonds in the Rough. I'm Cole Wilcox, co-host Nick Schnell, producer as always, Grayson Shook. Back with us for the first time in a while, it feels like.
Yeah,
You've been a busy
been a
man.
long time. Yeah, I guess.
UTC's keeping you busy over there. UTC and Dix, that's killer combo to keep a man busy.
Right.
Got stuff to talk about today. Got a sick interview at the end from another big leaguer. I mean, we're just racking up an all-star lineup at this point. Let's just get right into it.
Headed down to the neon lights, it's where I want to be, because I'm just trying to make it.
You're listening to the Diamonds in the Rough podcast.
I'm just trying to make it.
Powered by Prospects Live.
Well, boys are back. Another Thursday. A lot happening this week. And the most important thing is non-baseball, March Madness, which is there a better 4 days of sports than the first 4 days of March Madness?
No, unless your team loses.
Yeah.
Then it stinks.
Yeah, as a
Pretty bad.
Georgia fan, I don't have to worry about that because we're just never in it. So I just get to enjoy straight basketball, which is nice.
Yeah, the Illini gave me a straight aneurysm against UTC. And then, I mean, there was a point during the Houston game where I just didn't care. Tell them about it, Cole.
Well, you said you
did
didn't
not
care. Yeah, I got down 10 in the first half and just I don't even care anymore. I don't care. I hope they lose. He walked off. Well, he walked out the front door like 3 times. He's like, I'm just dropping. I'm leaving. And then
Someone was parked behind me.
30 seconds later, he'd walk back in. And we'd be doing something else. And then he'd look over and the game get tight. They'd miss a 3. He's like, what? Start yelling again. I'm like, Schnell, you don't care. He's like, yeah, you're right. I don't care. But
Dude, they fool me every year. I think they're going to be a good team. They're going to make a run. And then they got out-athleted is the problem. And their offense looked bad. We had a dude out there playing with one eye. It was brutal. I was frustrated.
Houston plays some grown man basketball, though. I mean, when the shot goes up, there's 5 guys going to get the freaking board. And if you don't box out, they're going to get it. They're insanely athletic. But yeah, March Madness is the sickest. I mean, we got St. Peter's, who's the least funded basketball program in the country, beating Kentucky, beating Murray State, and now they're in the Elite Eight on the side of the bracket that has UCLA, North Carolina, and who they play? Purdue.
Uh-huh.
So like 3 very historical basketball programs and then St. Peter's, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I think
Purdue somehow
a Peter
I guess UCLA is good, but if Purdue needs to, as much as I hate saying it, they need to win. They need to at least get to the Final Four because they blow it every year. They lose in the round of 32 every single year. The Sweet 16, they're always a good team, high seed, and then they go and blow it. Matt Painter needs to break the seal.
Yeah. They got a good team.
Jaden Ivey's a stone cold killer.
Very good. Very good player. We have our own March Madness going on still. Minor League Madness. We're trying to spread it out in between the basketball games because obviously that takes precedent over this for right now. But they're out yesterday, I guess, and there's more out today. The Final Four is out today, but yesterday we had a sick matchup. We had a 9 versus 11 in the Elite Eight. The Modesto Nuts and the Everett Aqua Sox. The teams golfed on Twitter, went back and forth. As of right now, it's 6:50 on Wednesday. We don't know who the winner's going to be. Aqua Sox have a slight lead. The Aqua Sox might mess around and win this whole thing.
They're 50-50, literally straight up on Instagram right now.
It's 56-44 on Twitter, so it's very close.
The Space Cowboys are smacking that booty today.
I mean, they're
against the Rumble Ponies.
They're a straight wagon.
Trash Pandas up against the Biscuits. And
This surprises me a little bit.
Yard Goats are beating the Tortugas right now.
Yeah, so we'll see if anybody can take down Aqua Sox, but they've been kind of elite through this whole process.
Space Cowboys have to win.
But Shook sent me something on Twitter that was another bracket going on. I mean, it's bracket season. Like, you can find brackets for pretty much anything on Twitter at this point. And it was most annoying college fan bases. And it was a bracket of how many, Shook? Like 16 teams?
Yeah, 32.
I think it was 80
maybe.
each side. Okay. Anyway, the championship was, in my opinion, 100% accurate. It was Ohio State and Tennessee, which,
You live with an Ohio State fan.
yeah, and he's not even that bad. But just seeing on Twitter, Ohio State is brutal. But Tennessee's gonna win that. I mean, let's just be real. Tennessee is
I can't believe Alabama didn't make it.
They were Final Four, but Ohio State clipped them. Tennessee is far and away
Who was the other one in the
the
Final
winner of
Four?
that. I think Florida State. I was Texas. Yeah.
Texas, yeah.
Texas. I don't know any
Florida State
Texas
was
fans.
ousted by Texas A&M in the second round.
Yeah, Georgia was beat by Ohio State second round. We clipped Iowa. I mean, I'd rank Georgia pretty high personally. I argue with half the fan base all year, so it annoys me. I know it annoys others. But like I said, Tennessee's in a league of its own. I'll just leave it there. They are a special breed of football fans. But we've said it like the last 3 episodes how spring training's back. But that the games have started and like it really feels like baseball's here.
Yeah.
And it's been cool. It's always fun this time of year where you have the prospects playing in the big league games and you kind of seeing what they're up against. And you got our boy Bobby Witt, who's still the best player on the field. He's playing with big leaguers, and he's the best player on the field.
I saw a video today of him and Mike Trout swing side by side. They're like identical.
It's just so quick, man. It's just boom, and then
I mean, it was identical.
Yeah, he's playing really, really well. Obviously, the guy we have coming up, Spencer Strider with the Braves, he was sitting 100. He seems to be. We didn't really ask him. I don't know if he's going to be a starter or reliever this year. I'd assume he nestles in a nice spot in the back end of the bullpen for his career. If I had to guess, I could be completely wrong, but when you're throwing 100 by guys, you want them to use them more than once a week.
Yeah.
So I'd say he ends up back there. But yeah, it's always fun, especially like now being in the system. This is my first real spring training. Like last year I had spring training. It was different. Big leagues already gone. So this was like the first experience I've had. So it's cool to see.
What you got on it, man?
It's cool. It's cool to see the guys that kind of in our locker room and that we've played with go in the big league games and compete and do their thing. It's kind of
80 grade scale. Grade it. Let's go.
what part?
All of it.
There's spring training.
Yeah, overall.
I don't know. I'm hurt, so it's a little different. Rehab is a 20 grade.
Yeah, rehab. Yeah.
Rehab's till 20.
Is a negative 80 grade.
What grade's the Florida Heat getting?
It's not that bad right now.
Negative
Is it
80.
not? Is it not?
It ain't negative 80. No.
Negative 20.
July is negative 80.
That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah,
Wait
It's
till July.
freaking awful.
Yeah. we're
The
a
worst
couple
part
months
about
away
it
from that.
is like we'll go shoot basketball in the evenings, and it feels pretty good, but it's still humid. Like it sucks. Like
Yeah, doing anything outside, you're committed to a shower. Like
committed to a shower.
you wake up in the morning, shower. You go to the field, you do everything at the field, shower. You go do anything outside, you got to shower.
That
You're
is
taking
true.
4 showers a day.
It is a commitment. If you walk out your front door, you know you have to get back in the
Shower.
shower. So it will keep you inside.
Yes.
100%. But yeah, like it's humid in North Georgia, like very humid. But in the evenings, like in the spring and fall, it's not, and it feels really good. Like that's the best part about where we live. So it's just different. Like I see it's overcast outside and sun setting, a little nice breeze. I'm like, I bet it feels good, and it does feel good. But then you still just sweat profusely.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this sucks.
We went and shot
kinda
baskets
defeats the
one
purpose.
night, and it was completely dark. And I had like good breeze. Like it wasn't warm by any means. I did have sweats on, and my legs were drenched in sweat. I was sweating
It'll
bad.
suck
that
it out
night.
of you. But it seems like the fans are really pumped to be at spring training.
Yeah.
kind of the first real experience they've had of it in 3 years. That's nuts.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Nuts. But so yeah, all is back to normal. It feels like almost, and hopefully the season is back to normal. Should be a good one. Snell, you got some news?
Yeah, getting surgery next Wednesday, most likely. Got appointment next Tuesday, potentially. Most likely surgery on Wednesday. Got a slap tear in the front of my labrum and a posterior tear in the back. So gonna miss at least 6 months, potentially 10 to 12. We'll see. They don't really know what's going on until they get in there. So they could go in there and it just is a slight tear and they'll clean it up. But if they get in there and it's a complete tear, then they'll have to put anchors in there. And so just waiting to go to the doctor, get final word. So I do have the surgery scheduled. So it's most likely going to happen, but there's a chance the doctor could say that I can rehab it back to good enough. But it's just tough knowing you got a torn labrum that's not fixed in your shoulder if you go the rehab route. So yeah, most likely surgery, which is a bummer. Not going to be able to play this year, but it's got to get fixed.
Yep.
So it is what it is.
Yep. It's when you're out in the middle of the process where you're like, man, do I love this sport?
Yeah. I love baseball, but my body doesn't.
Yeah. But I mean, once you get it fixed and you're back playing, it's just a blimp in the road.
Yep.
And most players go through it at some point. All players go through it at some point in their career. I mean,
yeah.
Nobody ever just goes freaking no injuries ever. But on another sad note, I lost my hero this weekend. Matty Ice, going to the Colts. But I'm glad we need to set him free from football purgatory in Atlanta. It's sad that he's played 14 years, and this will be the best offensive line and run game he's ever had. So,
80 grade human too.
Yeah.
If we're grading things on an 80 scale, 80 grade human.
Yeah, just a great guy.
If you're a Colts fan, if you're a Colts fan and you're upset about this, you're a loser.
It's all right. It's all right. Like I get it. Trust me. I'll be the first to admit there's been absolutely zero reason to watch the Falcons the last 3 years. So everyone just assumes like, the Falcons losing, Matt Ryan's washed, this, that, and another. But this time last year, I stood 10 toes in the paint for Stafford when people were saying this. And I'm telling you right now, he's not washed. And I'm standing 10 toes in the paint for Matty Ice. He's a giant upgrade over Carson Wentz. Even though I had multiple people at the facility tell me that he was not today. But we'll let it play out. The dude, he's
as long as he's not throwing left-handed interceptions, I'm cool with him.
But I definitely have to get up to the Indy and watch a game because that's gonna be sick. It was already sad when I seen the edits of him in a different uniform. It's like, I was wanting him to get traded. I was genuinely wanting us to trade him, and then when it happened, it just hit me, and I was like, dang.
Yeah, Cole
kind of sucks. I kind of know what you feel like a little bit now, Stuart.
Well, actually,
like, you know it's coming, and it's still like it hits you, and you're like, dang.
Right.
It was actually the beginning of this week, wasn't it?
We're not talking about that.
No, we're going to talk about it.
That was
the beginning of this week. Cole's got insider information, and he finds out that the Falcons are getting Deshaun Watson. So he's committed. So we're scheming already because he's like, we get Deshaun Watson, that's a game changer. Of course, he's a very good quarterback. And so we start scheming. All right, now the Colts need to get Matt Ryan. So we had it all planned. And then it comes out that Deshaun's going to the Browns. And Cole is
after they were rolled out. They were completely rolled out.
Yeah.
The Browns are out on Deshaun Watson.
Crushed.
Yeah, I was crushed.
But we still held out hope that Matt Ryan was going to the Colts. And Cole promised Sampson and I that if he went to the Colts, he'd buy us Matt Ryan jerseys. So Cole's on the hook for 3 Matt Ryan jerseys.
That's true. That is true. I might just save my jersey and just paint my full body blue with a white too.
Well, you got a place to stay when we go watch the game, son. Me, Bo, and Carly.
This is the true story. So the Falcons and the Titans had a joint training at Cahola Creek High School, which is that in Dalton? Is Cahola Creek in Dalton?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's like the outskirts of Dalton. It's kind of out there. It's kind of a hike.
Yeah.
Key.
It's like between the Northwest Whitfield, like the Tunnel Hill area, in that area.
Which it was brand new. It's an extremely nice high school, and they had a joint workout there. And so we were all how old were we? Elementary school, like 4th, 5th grade.
Might have been middle school at the oldest, but probably 4th.
And so we
5th, 6th grade.
We went to this, and I was never a big autograph guy, but obviously I had a football and was trying to get autographs, and I was getting anybody and everybody. I didn't really care. And I started this story because I did get Matt Ryan. He was signing. He was almost done. I bump his forearm with the ball, and he sees it, gets it. I'm the last one he signs, gives it back to me. I'm like, let's freaking go. I got Matty Ice. Well, we're standing in between fields where they're going back and forth. And Rob Baronis was the Titans kicker at the time. He walks off the field, goes into a porta potty. I'm the first one to meet him as soon as he gets out of the porta potty. He's fresh off draining the lizard, and I just stick the ball in his face. He's like wiping his hands off, and he's like, oh, "Okay," signs it, gives it back to me. I guess I was just a freaking menace that day. I thought I was going to the dang porta potty and found one. Yeah, Matt is a freaking Atlanta goat. I will not hear otherwise. My block, so I mean, no flex here, but I completely blew up on Twitter. I had that archive when I thought we had Deshaun. Yeah, doing numbies. I had it archived when I thought we were getting Deshaun, and then I was like, dang, this is a banger. I'm not gonna be able to tweet. This sucks. That was half the freaking heartbreak. But as soon as the deal went through, put it out, blew up, and my block list grew exponentially. I made the decision that as soon as I tweeted it, I would not respond to any morons. And I didn't. I said, I'm just going to block them and go about my day. And that's what I did. So credit to me for being extremely mature in that situation.
Not as mature as me, but mature.
No, I could never reach the level of married and fatherhood like you at an earlier
You never
age,
did make it to 5,000 likes.
No,
that's sad. Maybe I'll give it a retweet. Hold on.
Maybe I'll retweet it.
I unretweeted it and retweeted it. Maybe I can.
That's huge.
I can get
it's
you
a big play.
Another.
That's big time.
Because
you're 4,922. I mean, 88 more. That's got to happen.
Get 78, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's on me.
Oh, I'm the numbers guy.
You are a numbers guy.
The numbers.
But yeah,
guy.
it was just like, he's not the greatest Falcon ever. Block. 28-3. Block. The people that just freaking utter 28-3, I just picture them having triangle shaped heads. Like just thinking they're freaking hilarious when they say that. Like it's the most original thing ever. Like, yeah. Brand new, dude. Brand new joke. No segments today. There's too much to talk about. I mean, just sports world just on crack right now.
I could hit them with a pickle, but we'll save them.
We'll save those.
Yeah.
Hopefully we we had a golf outing. We had a 4-man scramble, 2v2. Schnelly and JJ Goss against Colby White and Nathan Witt. 4 characters. I'm currently in the process of editing and censoring the video. It's more work. It's more work than originally planned, but it's gonna be good. Like it will keep you entertained.
I was the calm one in the whole thing.
We're gonna have Colby White on soon. He is an entertainer in the true definition of the word. He's an entertainer.
He is,
and he was quite entertaining on the course, just like we imagined. But other than that, just doing baseball stuff, rehabbing away, and just pumping out content for the folks back home. Shook, UTC valiant run.
Great run. I was telling Nick before you got on that there was a softball tournament on the day of the game and ended up getting pushed back because of weather. We played at 5:30. The men's game was at 7. or 650, whatever it was. We finished that softball game, 5-inning run rule in an hour and 15 minutes.
That's huge.
So we jetted
just
over to
ultimate feel.
Champies. Yeah. We jetted over to Champies and got the game in, got to watch it and everything. So sucked, but
Lost head coach though, huh?
yeah, heading to South Carolina. So good for him. He is a good dude.
Yeah.
I really liked him a lot this year.
UTC's a feeder. I mean, hey, you could always bring Will Wade back.
Yeah.
He's on the market.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's in jail or not, but he's on the market. It was hilarious like 3 years ago when they had recordings of him, and it was like to the point where he was like in legal trouble, and then it was like, nah, he's fine, keep coaching. And then all of a sudden it comes out now.
I want to go down to Baton Rouge so bad just because I want to experience it. Because with as much trouble as their men's basketball team and football team gets in, it has to be another world.
Yeah.
Like, is it even a real place at this point?
Like, the FBI has recordings of Will Wade. He's fine. He can coach another 3 years. UTC legend. Other than that, I think that's all we got. We'll get y'all over to the interview. Anything else from the boys?
We gotta go defend our country on Call of Duty right now.
Is that the plan?
Yeah, I'm already getting set up.
You're itching?
Yeah, we need to get the squad together.
All right.
It's our time.
We'll come back with y'all next week with another episode. We're going to bring the heat again, as always. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Stay sparkly. All right, we now welcome on another special guest, pitcher with the Braves, Spencer Strider. Spencer, what's going on, man?
Not a ton. Good to be here. It's good to talk to you guys.
Heck yeah. I was going to ask how you've been feeling, but I saw your last outing yesterday, and it looks like you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, first outing and of their first live outing and throwing that hard. I mean, I'll take it. I'm happy with it.
I'd say so. I saw you're sitting 100. So that's always nice. Pretty easy confidence boost when you probably look up the board your first live and see you're just punching hundreds.
Yeah, I mean, where I'm at, I'm more focused on the off speed. And executing those. And so I think every slider I threw was a strike yesterday. So that's a big plus. So
that always plays for sure. How hard did you throw when you were at Clemson?
My freshman year, I was probably like, 88, 92. Some outings I'd, be like 90, 94, maybe get up into the mid 90s a couple times. Had a lot of fluctuation because I found out the next year I had a torn UCL. And then when I was coming back, it was the shortened 2020 season. I was probably about 92, 94, got up to 97. And then got drafted, took some time off, obviously, before the draft when the season was canceled, and then saw a big velo jump once I got to playing again at the end of the summer in 2020.
Nice. Do you credit that to kind of like the rehab that went into place during TJ, then the break, or was it just kind of like a mechanical thing? What's up?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination for sure. When I was right before I tore my UCL, I sort of identified some mechanical things I had going on that I would like to have changed. But when I tore my UCL, it was a week before the season was starting in the spring of 2019. And so I didn't really have time to revamp my mechanics. And then obviously got hurt, had plenty of time. That's all I had to do was learn how to throw again. And I mean, just focused on back leg stability and getting in a more powerful position, being level with my hips as I rode down the mound, shortened my arm action, cleaned up my front side a little bit, and then, continuing to get stronger and move faster and move more efficiently. It all adds up.
Yeah, for sure. Was that something you kind of noticed going into last year? Or was it something where it was like spring training and you saw that velo tick up?
I definitely saw my average velo rise a lot in spring training coming back from the off season. Because when I pitched at the alt site in 2020 a little bit, got up to 99. I think I averaged 95.
Okay.
And then when I came into spring training last year, my average velocity was around 97. So yeah, there was definitely another bump there.
Okay. So you'd been to the alternate site and they kind of knew what they were getting a little bit with the fastball. That's sick though. And then obviously you had one of like the craziest years of minor league baseball that's in place, honestly. I mean, starting out in Augusta, low A, going to the big leagues. I kind of want to talk about just the whole journey there. So you go to Augusta. Was that like, were you disappointed in that assignment out of spring training?
No, I mean, there was definitely a moment where it seemed like not a punishment, but sort of a snap back to reality almost. Like I came into spring training thinking, oh, I pitched the alt site. They know what I can do. I left at a really good spot, and then came into spring training, and I just had no direction in the off season. Was trying to do way too much. Got away from what I was really good at. Was trying to throw curveballs and changeups, and none of it was good. And so they said, look, you have to focus on how you move again and start at your fastball and then work your way from there. And you're going to go to Augusta and stay there for the whole season. And that hit me pretty hard when they told me. I had thrown 2 bullpens in spring training, and that's when they told me that. And so I thought, well, there goes my chance of having a crazy year. And for about a day, it sort of beat me up and sent me back. But then, it was what I needed to hear, because when I was able to just focus on my fastball, attacking the top of the zone, and then develop a breaking ball slider that paired well with it, I mean, that was all I needed. And then I just hit the ground running once I went to Augusta.
Yeah. It is always crazy going into spring training, because you go in expecting something, and then the team can have completely different expectations for you, and you don't know till you get there. And so then when it's something that's off like that, you're like, dang. And you're right, it can set you back for a couple of days for sure. So they told you that you'd be there all year.
They did. Yeah, that was before the hitter in spring. And it wasn't a misplaced statement. I mean, they evaluated me correctly. I mean, I stunk. There was no doubt about it. They gave me the avenue to adjust very quickly by telling me to focus on my fastball, and that's exactly what I needed to hear, like I said. And so it was a quick adjustment once I bought into it.
That's funny. And I mean, it's like they give you that, and clearly you made the adjustments to your fastball and focused back on it. And then, like we were talking about before we started recording, Chanel, what week did we play them? Week 3?
Yeah.
We had 2 home games and then went on the road to Augusta.
Yeah.
So we played 2 series, go to y'all's place, and you've already been moved up. So you went from staying there the whole year to being gone by week 3.
Right.
Was it 2 starts or 3 starts?
I actually made 4 starts. It was 3 weeks. So I doubled up the third week.
Gotcha.
Yeah. After the first outing, I mean, it was just clear that the fastball alone was probably too much for that level. And then they wanted me to focus on a breaking ball after the first 2 outings. And I said, I don't really know how much feedback I can get on a breaking ball at this level if I'm throwing as hard as I was. It wasn't really until I got to Double A that I was like seriously challenged on my off speed and was able to get good enough feedback to develop what's now my breaking ball and my changeup.
Nice. So what that conversation, what was the first call up like, the conversation? Was it after series you went right into the office or what?
Yeah, we were playing in Columbia. I pitched on Tuesday and then the Sunday because I had to double up. And so, right after the game, the skipper called me in and said, "Hey, you're going to Rome. I know you were supposed to be here all year, but you get to go to Rome now." So that was cool. I mean, it was obviously, it's not the big leagues, high A, but just to have been told, you're going to be in low A all year, and that becomes the expectation for the season. And then that quickly it was improved upon. That was nice.
Yeah.
I feel like more teams should do that. Like the Rays, we don't find out where we're going until literally the day before we leave. I feel like if you had the expectations going in and you kind of like your mindset was, all right, I'm here all year, I might as well just bear down, work on what I need to work on. I feel like guys would play with a lot less pressure. Like if teams let them know, like, here, this is where you're going to be at. Like if you outperform it, then yeah, we have no problem moving you, but this is where we see you for the year. I feel like guys would benefit from that so much.
I agree. I mean, because I came into spring training thinking, hey, I'm going to make it to the big leagues this year. And I mean, I did, but
Yeah.
it wasn't because I came in, with thinking I was so good. I was humbled immediately. And it was that honest evaluation and feedback that actually, ironically allowed me to make it to the big leagues that year. But I understand some of the ambiguity just because and not everybody's personality works the same, and not everybody is, the same athlete. And so some guys hear something or they're told something and it completely derails them, or it completely changes their approach. And so, I think they want guys to focus on preparing for the season in spring training more so than trying to alter their position in the organization.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's tough with the full group in spring training like the minor leagues, because what makes good coaches is knowing how athletes respond to certain things. Like they know they can tell you that, and then it would just drive you to be better. Like you said, that could crush some people's confidence. And when you have 150 guys, like it's going to be tough to individually, figure out who responds to what, and what's going to be the most beneficial for them. But
yeah, exactly.
But you get the first call up, and you've been told you're going to be there all year. Was it then you were like, okay, like if I keep pitching like this, clearly I can change their plan?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking. I mean, it was clear at that point that the organization's view of me had changed. Even after my second outing in Augusta, I was already hearing good feedback from the front office and how they thought of me, and that they were really excited. And just looking objectively at the Braves pitching staff at that point at the major league level, I mean, it seemed like there was a chance that somebody would be needed within the organization, or whether by a trade, and they weren't in a position to make a huge blockbuster move at the trade deadline. So if there was going to be pitching help, it was going to be internal. And so, I mean, once I got promoted, I thought, well, let me get to Double-A as soon as I can. And then once you're there, anything can happen.
Yeah. So where was your quickest stop?
Quickest stop was Triple-A. That was 2 days. And then, Rome was pretty short. That was 3 weeks. Yeah. So those were the two shortest.
How many rent payments were you making through the year?
I got pretty lucky because the apartment I rented in Augusta, I actually didn't break with the team. I spent an extra week in extended, made one outing and extended, and then went to Augusta. So I was on my own to find housing at that point. Everybody, at the team had a situation set up already. So I had a 1-bedroom condo. It was actually a really great place. And I was in it for 6 nights and signed a season-long lease because that's what I was told. And the guy ended up letting me get out of it. And then in Rome, I found a place with a month-to-month lease. So that worked out pretty well. And then in Mississippi, I was able to stay with a host family. So that was nice.
That's
huge. And then it was hotels from there on out.
Yeah. So how many did you make many road trips, or were most of them at home?
No, in Mississippi I made, quite a bit. In Augusta I started in Myrtle, and then I went to Columbia, went to Bowling Green with Rome, and then we had a double homestand for 2 weeks and got promoted after that. Just missed a 2-week road trip to Maryland and Delaware. So that was kind of nice for me.
Let that hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Mississippi was nice. Double-A South's a great league. Going to Montgomery, Birmingham, Tennessee, I'm from Knoxville, so that was cool. Pensacola's great stadium, great city. Biloxi was a shortened trip for us, but it was good. We didn't get to go to Rocket City. Didn't get to go to Huntsville, which is supposed to be the new cool place in the Double-A South. But that's okay. I'll be fine not going back.
Definitely a good name for sure. They
City,
were a 1 seed in our latest minor league team name bracket. They're still alive, I think, as far as I know. But you mentioned you're from Knoxville, so let's talk about that for a minute. You didn't go to Tennessee?
Didn't go to Tennessee. No, I sought after a much more enjoyable shade of orange from Clemson.
Love it.
Yeah, Tennessee's a little too bright for me. I was getting recruited when I was getting recruited. They were sort of in a strange position with coaching, and so I wasn't too confident that I would be playing for a coach that recruited me if I went to Tennessee. And quite frankly, when Clemson recruited me, and it was a pretty quick decision. Just upon entering the stadium and meeting the coaches, I felt super comfortable, and it was just one of those fits.
That's funny. Yeah, you're definitely already smarter than 80% of the people that live there. If you decide to go to a different school, they're rolling right now though. They clearly got the right guy in there, and he's bringing in some dudes.
Tony Vitello is a phenomenal coach. Great guy. Yeah, they're in good shape. I work out with some guys that some of them went to Tennessee, so we use the facility quite a bit in the off season and spend a lot of time there and around the team. And yeah, they're fun to watch. I'm certainly becoming, I won't say Tennessee fan, but I view them favorably now. I would say that.
Yeah, they're definitely a fun team to watch. I mean, they just roll out dude after dude. Like it's pretty cool. And clearly he's a very good recruiter because I feel like he's been getting who he wants in the state of Tennessee, which for a long time that wasn't happening, especially there.
Right. Yeah, that's been the criticism, is that their in-state recruiting has been very poor.
Yeah. And so
when you're rolling out dudes that are throwing 104, you're doing all right.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I don't think you'll find anybody else in college throwing 100, let alone 104.
That's a weapon. That's a weapon. Yeah. You mentioned you work out there. So he's pretty welcoming to like former players and professional guys coming to work out there.
Yeah, and I think I think every coach at every college program should be that way. You want your players to see big league guys running around and see what they do, and I mean, you want guys that are in the baseball world to like your program. I think that nothing bad can happen from that. Guys are going to have kids. Their kids are playable. Maybe they'll, go to a place that they see their dad going to, and rather than playing at. So, yeah, no, he's got a great thing going on for sure.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I was going to get at. Is like you talk to a lot of the Vanderbilt kids, and they have a real nice like locker room for alumni and a good space to come work out and stuff. And it is a very good recruiting tool, like you said. I mean, you got recruits come on campus and they see Walker Buehler working out there. They see David Price working out there. It's like, okay, like that's pretty cool. And then like, if you go to that school and you do get drafted, like you're going to be well taken care of in the offseason, because that's half the battle. I feel like for professional baseball players is finding a place in the offseason to work out at. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Unless you have something that's right by your house, like you've kind of got to go somewhere, and a lot of people have to drive. And if you're familiar with a place at your school like that, like that's a big deal. And yeah, I agree with you. Every college coach should look into implementing that, because it's a weapon to have. It's not only recruiting, but even like developing. Like you're gonna have professional athletes on campus during fall ball, like hit with your guys, throw with your guys. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah, no doubt. No, I think if well, especially you mentioned like a place to work out. I mean, a lot of minor league guys are a little strapped for cash, and they're not going to necessarily pay to move somewhere that's convenient, for training purposes. And so if you're stuck where you're stuck, then whatever resources are around you is what you've got to utilize. And so, I think that, and it's just a great advertisement tool at that point, if you can just lure pro ball guys into your college, even if they didn't go there.
Yeah. A lot of people throwing in nets in the off season for sure.
I certainly still have my days of throwing in the nets.
100%.
Finding a throwing partner is not easy.
No, especially in certain towns. I mean, Knoxville's probably a little easier than where I'm from, and it can be thin picking sometimes. I remember one time I went. We had like a retaining wall down by my basement, and I got an old rug that we used to have in the basement, and I draped it from the retaining wall, put some like bricks along the top, and threw into the rug against the wall.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Have it. And Georgia does a good job of letting us come back whenever we want to and stuff. Like they don't have a locker room set up or a facility. That'd be nice, but it definitely helps when they welcome you back like that for sure.
Absolutely.
But speaking of Clemson, they're playing pretty well too. Got off to a good start.
They are, yeah. I mean, they started 14-0, big sweep of South Carolina. It's nice to take care of the Gamecocks, remind them, where they belong in the state. Yeah, I mean, Clemson's going to handle some adversity this year, just as every team is, and I think that they've got very good leadership from their players this year. They've got a good junior and senior class. And they're going to be all right. I think they're going to, like I said, they're experiencing some adversity, but in the long run, I think they're going to end up at the top of the ACC and hopefully make a good playoff push.
Yeah, having an older team in college in any sport is a big deal.
Yeah,
it's because it's different. I mean, you come in as a freshman, and it's like it's that first fall. You're like, all right, this is real baseball. It's not only the baseball, it's the schedule. It's the classes, it's the tutoring. Like it's tough, and it can wear on you. And when you got good leaders you can go to, it makes it a whole lot easier.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, for me, I really bloomed late in high school, and so a lot of my success was completely new, and it wasn't tethered to anything substantive that I could foster. And I didn't have much of a routine. I didn't know what made me throw hard physically or in terms of preparation. And so that first fall, it was like, why am I not throwing as hard as I did last spring? Why do I not feel the same? Why am I not getting guys out? I mean, so you're facing a lot of these questions, and there's a lot of doubt going in, and you're in an unfamiliar place. And like you said, it's a different schedule, and that's a big growth period for guys. And it's sort of like spring training and minor league ball. I mean, if you just need to have an environment where there's expectations that are honest and realistic, and you're looking long term and not getting too focused on immediate outcomes. Yeah.
To put it simply, you just freaking wore out, like mentally and physically.
Yeah.
Especially that first fall, like towards the end of fall, you're like, this sucks. Like, can we please just get to the season? I'm sick of facing my own team. That is the nice thing about spring training. Like, at least you're facing other teams. The first 2 or 3 weeks of inter squads are no fun. It kind of reminds you of fall ball.
Right. Somebody hits 2 jimmies off you, they're leaving. You won't see them again. Yeah.
Right.
Whereas they're going to harass you in the locker room if it happens in college.
Exactly. And you have those guys on your team who they just, for whatever reason it is, like they just have you. I mean, it's like once they get one, they get the confidence, they're going to get another.
Right.
Kind of like I have with Snell right now. Just straight up domination. But
tell them about the last time we faced. Well, the first time we faced. Go ahead.
This is probably the 25th time we've told this on this pod, but Chanel, we were in Nashville at Vanderbilt. Actually, this is how old were we? 17, 16?
Yeah, probably 16. I think.
Yeah, he had a double. It was probably a 3-hopper off first base, bounced over the first baseman, turned it to 2. So yeah, he's slugging a pretty high number off of me right now.
So on your dad, actually.
But I knew you're going to take a shot at South Carolina there. And I wanted to say, though, objectively speaking, one of the sickest stadiums in college baseball. Would you agree?
Founders Park in Columbia. Yeah, it's a good one. There's no doubt. It feels like a minor league stadium. I mean,
it does.
Yeah, it's a minor league environment for sure. Yeah.
It was really cool. That was the first conference place I pitched at. That was our first road trip. And I was like, dang, this is sick. Because I really didn't take any other visits. Like, committed to Georgia freshman year. That was it. Shut it down. And then, once we went there, I was like, dang, maybe I should have taken some more visits. This place is sweet. But y'all had a really nice field too. But the one thing is, what is up with the freaking little hill right before the wall out in left field?
The berm? You never seen an outfield berm before? It's kind of old school. That's real specific to Clemson. My high school coach actually saw that when we were in high school and decided to build one at our high school. So I was already groomed for the berm. I was ready when I got to Clemson. I've been playing on one. Nice. Not that I was patrolling the outfield very much, but I like it. It allows you to put the tiger paw on there, in the corners and in the gaps and show off the logo a little bit.
The outfielders like it?
If you're the home team, if that's where you play all the time, then it's definitely a helpful tool because if you learn how to play it, you expect it, and gives you a little range up against the wall. But if you're not familiar with it, you roll an ankle.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds like a broken ankle if you're not used to it.
Yeah, so it's definitely a home advantage.
Chanel, you ever played at one?
Never.
So is Clemson, South Carolina, like that's y'all's biggest rival.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. I mean, I was able to go back to Clemson for the series this year and watch the Sunday game at home, and largest crowd in Clemson history. So
That's sick.
Yeah, it turns out, I think on Friday night at Founders Park, it was close to full, if not full. So
okay. So
yeah,
I mean, so it's what it's
deal.
cracked up to be.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
for the state.
Yeah, even when the teams aren't ranked, or if the teams, one team's not so great, it's always, the event of the spring in South Carolina.
Nice. Love it. And so we didn't really talk about it at your draft experience, but so you had TJ in 19, right?
Yeah.
And so then you like me, you had the short kind of showcase for 4 weeks and then the draft.
Right.
Did you know what to expect going into the draft based off what you've done?
I thought that I pitched in front of people and did well enough at the right time. I mean, my big outing with the most exposure was actually against South Carolina. I was 94, 96 up to 97, and threw 4 innings on a pitch count, and it was a good outing. A lot of scouts were there. Best competition we played in that shortened season. So that carried a lot of weight, and I felt like with my track record and my high school draft interest that it would be enough to get a pick in the 5-round draft. And I wasn't too focused on money or anything. I just felt like, having in the past year at that point, COVID and an injury, season-ending injury, I felt like I didn't want to take any more chances and go ahead and start my pro career. And I think I made the right decision. It allowed me to just spring forward.
Yeah, I'd say so. So you're in Mississippi, and the Braves make some moves around the All-Star break, and they start going on a run. And it's to the point where, all right, like we're a playoff team. When was the transition? Because you were still starting Mississippi, right?
Mm-hmm.
When was the transition like, all right, we're going to send you to the pen and try to get you to the league?
So I started game 5 of the championship series against Montgomery at home. And then to me, that was the last game of the season. As far as I knew, I was done. So the next day, I mean, I'm in the weight room pumping out curls, wearing a cutoff, like we're playing hard rock and we're doing a beach workout, and I didn't play catch. I didn't do my routine. I didn't do most of my post recovery stuff because my season was over as far as I knew. Yeah. And at that point, I was pretty happy with it. I mean, I was supposed to be in low A, and I went from non-prospect to a top prospect and finished in double A, and, developed my arsenal. And then I think they realized that I didn't think I was playing anymore, and that might be a problem. So they were waiting until the series was over, but they decided to tell me the next day that I was going to go to AAA and throw out of the pen. And it was our director of player development was there, and so he brought me into the coach's office, and we were talking, and he made it clear that they thought I was a starter, and that was their long-term vision for me. But I was going to go to AAA to, if nothing else, get some AAA experience. But he said if it goes well, then it's going to go really well. And that was really all he said. And I understood what he meant. I understood the implications. And so, yeah, went up to Gwinnett. We had an 11 a.m. game on a Wednesday, and I got to come out of the pen and be reliever Spencer. So that was fun.
How different is that for you?
It's definitely different. I think that, I love the starter's routine. I love that every day has a purpose, and it's very routine oriented. It's very, sequential and purposeful. That's just how I operate. It's how I'm geared. So I like that. But coming out of the pen's fun. I mean, if you feel good and you can recover outing to outing, then and you're used to some adversity, which I felt like I had experienced playing a full season in the minors and changing places so many times, then you just don't worry about stuff you can't control. You just try and throw gas and do what you do. Just fastball slider for me. I mean, it's just simple. So it was a pretty easy transition in the short term.
Yeah, I always find it interesting. Cole and I forget who we were talking to, but we were in the lunchroom the other day, and it's always it's always interesting to hear pitchers talk about, like Phoenix Sanders. He's a reliever in AAA for us, and he's like, I can't stand having a routine. Like, he's like, I like being able to just like do my like whatever I want, and then when they say, "Hey, Sanders, get ready," he's like, and then I get ready. But then another guy was saying like he has to have his routine throughout the week. He knows what every day is going to look like. So I just find it interesting. Didn't know if you liked one better than the other or what.
Yeah, I think it's just nice to have some idea what they're expecting of you, what you're supposed to do. I mean, if it's relieve, then that's what you do. You just adjust. I mean, I think you just take whatever circumstances are given to you and you just make the most of them. It doesn't. I think you get. And I experienced this my freshman year at Clemson because I had always started. And then when I was a freshman, I had to come out of the pen, but I would also start at midweek sometimes. And so that would get confusing because it's hard to just adapt back and forth. But yeah, I think it's good for people to do both just because it makes you realize how little some things matter in your preparation, and that you to be better, more stressed.
Yeah, because like you, I had the same thing. Like freshman year, I'm out of the pen at Georgia, and like you said, like Chanel was saying, somebody said they had to be on a routine, and most of the people that are starters now have been starters their whole life. Like if you're starting in the minor leagues, you've probably started through college,
right?
And so you don't know. Like you think that is necessary for you to pitch, and until you've done both, like the bullpen for me was like a complete eye opener because I remember the first time I came out of the pen, I threw a 30-pitch bullpen out there before I went into the game.
Right.
And a lot of the guys are like, dude, you don't have to do that. You don't need to do that. Like, what if you had to sit down? You're burnt the next inning. And so I was like, yeah, you're right. And so it took me a while to figure out, what to do. And then by year's end, I was throwing 7-8 pitches before I walked out of the field. Like you realize, like you want to put in the preparation, you want to put in the work as a starter, but at the same time, like if there's a rain delay, it's like, all right, whatever. Like I don't need that much time. I can be good to go whenever. And that's like you said, it makes you be able to adapt. Like I bet you talking about your freshman year at Clemson kind of starting, going back and forth. I bet you learned a lot during that time of like, all right, this is what I can do and still pitch well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in Mississippi, I learned a lot too, because I finally faced some opposition that was challenging to me. In low A and high A, I mean, I had rain delays and I had, different circumstances that weren't ideal, and I still was able to pitch well,
right? Just
because my fastball was better than the competition. But yeah, in Double A, I mean, it's 100 degrees in Mississippi with 100% humidity. It's going to rain for 20 minutes before the game, and you're not sure if it's going to delay the start time. And then the other team's really good. They've seen you 5 times. You're worn out because it's your 100th inning of the season. And, you come to realize that, there's ideal circumstances, whether I'm pitching at home or the weather's this thing, it's 70 degrees or the lineup's bad that I'm facing, but you just can't control them. And so what you have to do is set yourself up to pitch the same regardless of the circumstances. My routine turned into something I could do anywhere, regardless of what equipment I had, whether it was inside or outside, in a big clubhouse, in a weight room, in 30 minutes or in 2 hours. And that definitely allowed me to go into every outing with far more consistent expectations for the game, because I wasn't tethering my results to the circumstances of my preparation.
Yeah. And until you've done it, you don't understand it. You've just done the same thing your whole life. And it's like, this is what I do to get ready. And then as soon as something else happens, you're like, all right, well, maybe I don't need to do all that. Like
that's one of those circumstances where you need to fail in order to learn. I really believe that. I think guys need to be thrown into the fire a little bit and have to figure that out for themselves, because I was very arrogant and ignorant to that my freshman year. I wanted to prepare exactly how I did when I was a senior in high school, because that's when I had my most success and that's what I was going to do. And it didn't work. So I had to just learn from trial and error there.
Well, we've been building up to it, and I guess we'll get to it now. Tell us about the call up, like what you get the call, and tell us about the transition into the big league locker room.
I mean, it was cool. I mean, when I made my outing in AAA, and I mean, never hadn't pitched out of the bullpen since my freshman year in high school or in college. And it went better than I expected. I was 99 to 101. Slider was just gross and struck out the side. And I mean, there's no doubt in my mind at that point that I was probably going to get called up. And then the Braves ended up clinching the playoffs the next day. And so all the circumstances seemed right for me to get called up. And it didn't happen the next 2 days. And so I thought, well, I guess they're just going to roll with who they got. And, I mean, hey, again, it was kind of like in AA. I mean, look where I am compared to where I was supposed to be.
Right.
And so I was ready to make one more outing in AAA and then call it a year. And I was on my way to the field on a Friday. It was about 2:30 in the afternoon, and I got a call, and they said, "Hey, you're going to pitch in the big leagues tonight, so you got to come to the other side of Atlanta," which at 3:00 on a Friday afternoon can be very difficult.
Fast, yeah, fast.
So my afternoon was quite hectic, and it's just like we were just talking about, though. I can't control any of it. I just have to accept the circumstances, and hey, who cares what I'm having to do? I'll walk there. I mean, I get to make my big league debut today.
Yeah.
So no, it was super exciting. I wasn't in big league camp. I haven't met any of the big league guys at this point. So that was a little concerning. Just like, I don't really know what it's like to be around big leaguers. I've never done it before. So I definitely didn't want to walk into the clubhouse and start stepping on people's toes or doing the wrong thing. And I'd say that was probably the most stressful part of it, was how do I fit into the clubhouse? Like what's my role? What's expected of me? I kind of just chose this speak unless spoken to, approach. And got to pitch that day. And so it was pretty neat.
Yeah. I feel like that's the best approach. Speak when spoken to, just go out and do your thing.
Yeah. And there were guys that were extremely nice and very helpful. Josh Tomlin came right up to me and I mean, practically held my hand through the whole day. I mean, he was great.
That's
just
nice.
An awesome vet, nice guy. And they were having trouble finding pants for me to wear. And he's built similar to me and sort of short and stocky. And so he gave me a pair of pants to wear for stretch and everything. So that was cool. Kind of showed me around the clubhouse and around the facility. So that was awesome. And I it definitely made me want to be that guy for somebody someday when somebody comes up and they're a little uncomfortable, try and guide them a little bit, ease them a little bit.
Was there ever a part of you when you got there where it's like, okay, this team's been doing this all year, they've earned the playoff spot? Did you feel like kind of out of place? Like you didn't know where to celebrate? You didn't know?
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like that's a big deal.
I felt like I was riding on these guys' coattails and I just jumped on and while they weren't looking.
Yeah.
I mean, I was there to do what was asked of me and nothing more. But that was great for me. I mean, just to get 2 outings in the big leagues from where I was supposed to be that season. I mean, I couldn't have asked for more. And it was just enough experience for me to take into the off season and, focus on what I needed to focus on. And no, I mean, they ended up going to win the World Series. That was great. I mean, I did not need to be there and that was theirs. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah. No, I get that for sure. Well, we don't want to keep you too long, man. We appreciate you coming on.
Of course.
Obviously, we're pulling for you this year. Break with the squad. I say if you keep throwing 100 and punching out dudes, that you probably will. Stay healthy and, hey, come back on when you make an all-star game.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Anytime you want me, I'm free for you.
Awesome. Well, again, we appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one, and hopefully we'll see you around sometime.
All right. Sounds good, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Have a good one.